Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. Merry Christmas. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, Danielle Perez.
Hey!
What's up, Danielle?
Oh my God. I love to hate.
I saw your Twitter thread as you were prepping for this episode. I'm so happy to have you because when I first floated the idea of doing this podcast like a year ago, you commented that you wanted to talk about Love Actually, and I could not think of a better Christmas movie to talk about and finally have the occasion to actually talk about it because there's so much wrong with Love Actually upon various rewatches.
It's terrible. It is. It's like, I don't even love to hate it. It's just that bad.
Yeah. What's your biggest problem with it?
I don't think any of the characters in the movie actually know what love is. I think
You're probably right on that.
It's called Love Actually, but really it's just like more just like sad British people actually. Like that's it.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird... Everybody's just kind of going through some bullshit that they are creating for themselves.
Yeah, and it just, like, the movie is bookended by airport scenes and 9/11 references. Like, it opens with, just a real hot 9/11 reference.
Right.
And it's like, this is a movie that's supposed to be about love. Why does, American tragedy factor into this at all? Because this is a British movie.
It's a very British movie.
And I'm just so confused by the concept, how they even came up with this, because this I feel is the beginning of all of those Valentine's Day and New Year's Eve and those movies where it's let's get all the major stars in our collective agency to be in a movie together.
Right.
And if we just throw all of them together, we'll make so much money. It doesn't matter what the plot is. Let's just have them do a few scenes with each other. And it's that's not entertaining.
Right. That doesn't mean you don't get carte blanche to make a movie like that.
Yeah, but these are all British people that okay, Laura Linney and Emma Thompson, and then the guy from Taken. And it's those are and Hugh Grant, I guess.
Well, no, I think Alan Rickman's better than Hugh Grant.
No, he's the best one.
But I also forget.
But it's not that much star power.
No, it's really not. I mean, Keira Knightley wasn't anything. You have Rowan Atkinson, who gives a shit about Mr. Bean or Johnny English, if that's your thing. Colin Firth is kind of there, but not really. He hadn't really. It's just all these people who hadn't done anything.
Really?
Other than, this is Martin Freeman. Martin Freeman is in this movie, but he's not even listed on the posters.
Who is he?
He's,
Is he the guy that I thought was Matthew Lillard?
Maybe? He's the guy who's the body double. In all the scenes.
Yeah, he's the Hobbit or whatever.
Yeah, he's the Hobbit, and he's on Fargo, and he's great in so much stuff after this, but he can't even get any kind of billing in this movie. He's not even on the poster.
No, this movie, because it's 2003, so it's, and I looked up who wrote the movie, and it's the guy that wrote Four Weddings and a Funeral and Notting Hill, and I'm wait a minute.
Richard Curtis.
Are those movies bad? How, was this a fluke, or are those movies bad too?
Well,
these are the canon of romantic comedy, but this isn't even a romantic comedy.
No,
that is what
it's not.
It's just it's not anything. It's just let's just throw a bunch of people together, say they're talking about love and doing things around love when they're not.
Yeah. This movie is full of misdirections and stuff, and they don't understand. Yeah, they throw in a lot of 9/11 references for a Christmas movie. It's not even a Christmas movie. It's just a movie that happens to take place at Christmas time.
And 5 weeks out isn't really Christmas. That's November.
Right. Though I guess, I don't know, I never really thought about it, but I guess British people don't have a Thanksgiving.
Oh, they don't have Thanksgiving.
So they start celebrating stuff way earlier.
Oh, I guess. And they don't know how to do Halloween.
No, do they? Have you been to Britain for Halloween?
Madison, my best friend Madison, her birthday is on Halloween. And one year I was doing study abroad in Italy, but I went and she was doing theater school in London. So I went to visit her for her birthday. And her school had like a dope Christmas or birthday, like Halloween party. But then like people were still wearing Halloween costumes the next day. And I was like, no, you don't understand how Halloween works. It's like not.
It's not extended.
It's over. It's done.
Doesn't
now.
go like that, guys.
Yeah.
So this was made, written and directed by Richard Curtis, who we just mentioned wrote The Four Weddings and a Funeral, Notting Hill, and this is, I think, his only movie that he ever directed. He did a lot of...
He's written a lot.
Yeah, he wrote Bridget Jones's Diary. He wrote About Time. He wrote War Horse. He wrote a ton of British sitcoms with the Vicar of Dibley, fun British names.
I don't know. And here's the thing. Maybe I just don't like watching British people unless they are in period costumes and just speaking in hushed tones. Like maybe that's part of it. Like I just don't like British modernity. Am I xenophobic? I was so uninterested in these people.
Well, the problem is it's all stuff that
boring.
It's so boring, and it's the kind of shit that you would see in like an American drama film, and you throw British accent on it, and of course, then all of a sudden it becomes highfalutin film you can go watch.
It's not. It's masquerading as like being important and having something to say.
Right, throughout the whole movie.
I don't know, like this movie just as like sometimes people are sad. I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of stuff in the movie that they get to because they have these diverging storylines.
But they don't like the diverging.
That don't make a whole lot. There's that's the only thread at all. But you have total nonsense coming together.
So like, okay, so we start with the Colin Firth guy, the Bridget Jones Diary guy.
Right.
And he's like leaving his like wife or girlfriend, whatever. I didn't really clock the ring. I don't really generally like to look for rings. But so he leaves his hot woman in bed and she's sick. And then like he keeps saying, I just don't want to leave you because I love you.
Right.
And then he goes away. And then somehow like comes back
because he has to do something between parts of the wedding, because that's something that people always do, is take a little breather in between the wedding and the reception.
Was he at the wedding?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. And then there's a fucking dumb wedding.
That wedding is one of the worst weddings I've ever seen on film.
It's a really ugly wedding, and like, it's just.
How did nobody notice that they brought the brass instruments into the church?
Yeah, it's like, don't you notice that all these people that you don't know are like getting prime real estate at your wedding, like front row?
Why is the best man not close to? Where's the bridal party?
I don't understand.
Where are the brides and the groomsmen?
I don't know. Also, that camcorder, wow, technology.
Right.
That is so dated. That
Sony Handycam bullshit.
Oh, that's so. But it's like, what kind of man at his best friend's wedding films the woman he's obsessed with? Like, that is psychotic.
It is.
That is just an insane thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't believe that anyone who would do that could like rein it in just regularly around that couple.
Right. That's the thing. One of the biggest problems that I had with this movie, and I before we continue, I do have to admit this, and it's shameful for me to admit, I used to like this movie.
Why?
I watched this movie back in like high school before I really knew any better.
How old are you?
I'm 28.
You're old enough to know better.
Not at the time. I wasn't. Back when I was like 16, and I was like, "Oh, this is a cool movie.
This is a cool
It's
movie
got
about
different plot
love.
lines. It's
Wow.
about love. I thought I knew what love was, and that's what I think I identified because nobody knew what the fuck love was in this movie, and I was like, "Oh yeah," and so I thought that they did, and I was like, "They're British. They must know what they're talking about." And I've watched it like 3 or 4 times since then, and it's just diminishing returns. And now I see that nobody knows what they're doing in this movie.
It's 2 hours long.
It's
like,
so
that's a
long.
Fucking movie. Like, for 2003, that is a long movie.
It's almost 2.5 hours long.
It's so long.
It's absurdly long. They have no... It's just... Okay. The fact that everybody is making these active choices to do bad things and then acting surprised when people find out that they've done bad things blows my mind completely out of the water.
But just like the choices, like he I don't know, the wedding happened, so he goes back to his apartment. No one does that. Once you're at a wedding, you stay at the fucking wedding. You're not leaving anywhere. But he goes back to his apartment and sees his brother there and is like, what are you doing here? And then his wife, who's supposed to be sick, is just calling down like, I want to fuck you 2 times before Dum Dum gets home.
Right.
Like, that's insane. She's sick. She looks kind of sick.
She did.
Like, she looked beautiful, but
She
still
definitely
sick.
had like some something flaring up around her
you
nose.
don't just like go fuck a sick person. Like, that's.
I mean, if you're really trying to stick it to your brother, you go fuck a sick person.
But like, so you fucked your brother's ex-wife or girlfriend. So then his decision is like, let me go to the south of France to a property I either rent or own to
Hard
work
to tell.
on my manuscript on a typewriter.
Right.
What? Like, I don't feel bad for you. You have money. Like,
Right.
who cares?
You got South of France cottage money.
You
You got
could-
housekeeper money.
housekeeper. You have a domestic that doesn't speak English. She speaks Portuguese. You barely know French to get by. Don't speak Portuguese. And then, like, carrying that, wow, my brother fucked my girlfriend, and that is why I'm here. Then you just put all of this like emotional weight on like your interactions with a woman whose only job is to feed and take care of you.
Right.
Like, that is so creepy. Like, everyone is creepy.
Right. The only reason from the jump after he starts realizing that she is doing her job is like, oh, she took off her clothes to get into a lake? Oh, man, she must really fucking care about me. She must really be in love with me.
To save the manuscript on a typewriter, go fuck yourself.
And of course, he doesn't take off any of his clothes to get into the lake.
No, oh my
'Cause
god,
why would he?
The camera panning over her body before she jumps into that muddy lake
Right.
is like, this is, what are we? It's like, I feel like this movie is made for people who've never been in love or never had sex. Maybe that's why you liked it in high school.
Exactly.
Because it's just, there's like a lot of gratuitous, like, just like weird shit, like
Right.
like that weird like Matthew Lillard. I'm just gonna call him Matthew Lillard. I don't know what his name is, but he's just like this dumb British guy who's like young, like I guess like a millennial age kind of guy.
Oh, Colin.
And he's just like, man, British girls don't want to fuck me. I can't like find a girlfriend. I'm gonna go to America. You know what they like in America? British accents. I'll be really cool. And it's like he's just a regular kind of whack. Like, he's got, Offspring hair
Yeah.
and, like, baggy jeans.
Right.
Like,
He's got some Jinkos that he picked up from whatever the
Yeah.
British version of Ross
It's like
Dress for
very-
Less is.
it's, like, very, like, he's seen, like, Go and, like, has been to a rave.
He's a big fan of Train Spotting.
Yeah.
Because he used to do heroin, but he's clean now.
He's clean now. He's jolly. And, like, he goes to Milwaukee,
Right.
orders a Budweiser.
Because it's the king of beers.
And then, like, these 2 super hot girls,
Right.
straight out of, like, American Pie hot.
Yep.
Just all of a sudden are like, oh, you're British?
You're
That's so sexy. Oh my God, you're so cute. We have a roommate.
Doesn't one of them literally have a lollipop that she's sucking on?
One of them is January Jones.
Right.
One of them is like,
Elisha Cuthbert is one of
Yeah.
them.
it's so fucking insane.
And they're all like, we have to sleep naked.
we have in a
For
one
the warmth
bed.
in a one bed. And then you cut, and it's a very nice house.
And there's multiple levels.
Right.
They're on the second story. Like, there must be other places they can sleep.
Milwaukee in 2002, I guess. It's a real estate market for you.
Oh my God. But like, yeah. And so it's like, is that love? I don't think so.
Right. The plot. Let's talk about Hugh Grant.
Oh my God.
For
He is
whatever reason-
not charming in this.
For whatever reason, this is still part of the time when people were obsessed with Hugh Grant and making him a viable romantic comedy lead. Or not even a romantic, just a lead in romance movies, which I, to this day, do not understand.
He is. It's like this. Like, I'm affable and I'm charming, but I don't realize I'm charming because I'm stepping over my words and making the wrong like movements. It's so disingenuous.
Right.
Like, it's so obvious.
Yeah, like the part where he starts dancing in the middle of the prime minister residence. He's prime minister, by the way. You get a bumbling
prime minister. I'm like, how did a man this week become prime minister? Like, this man doesn't seem like he has any authority over anyone. Also, that prime minister's residency looks real sad. It's like there'll be like well-appointed rooms and then like offices that look like they're like the back of like retail spaces.
I mean, that's like, Britain for you, I guess.
Is that? I'm like, I'm like,
stuff
I've been
either looks
a lot
ornate
of
or
House
like
of
it's a
Cards.
strip
I'm like,
mall.
I don't think that's how their offices are supposed to look like. They should be nicer.
It's just more in like the parts where he's just like, it's clear that he does. I don't think he really has an understanding of how to show power, and the part that makes it the most obvious is when he is at the press conference with President Billy Bob Thornton.
Who's just an American who just wants what he wants.
Right.
Like, there's no talk about, like, if he's a Democrat or a Republican or really what the policies are that they're discussing. Like, there's no actual context. All you know is that he's prime minister now and the president's coming and Americans want what Americans want.
Right. I mean, I guess if they're making all these 9/11 references, he's supposed to be George Bush, probably?
I don't even think
Or is George Bush dead and been replaced by Billy Bob Thornton?
It's 2003, so for sure still George Bush.
It might as well just be Billy Bob Thornton playing himself as the American president.
It's just like, this are Americans. But it's like, so it's such a bizarre statement considering, 9/11, it's like, Britain like stood by us, was like, yeah. We're going to be part of that coalition and go fight whoever did this. Yeah.
But the scene when he's at the press conference and he's just like, I'm going to be a strong British person. And then everybody literally gives him a standing ovation as if that's the furthest thing that they could imagine that he would ever be capable of doing.
It's just like, that's not how British people work.
No.
That's not. They're too staid for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. None of it. It's like, you literally just said, like, we won't let you get your way. Like,
right. But then, of course, this is all baked in with this weird sexual assaulty harassment-y subplot that is the reason, like, he falls for this woman who works for him.
You don't even know what she does. Like, when his like, I guess, house manager is like introducing him to his employees, one person gets a job title and the rest are just introduced as they work here. And you don't even know what she does. She just works here. And everyone calls her fat. And it's like, she's maybe a size 10. Like, and it's...
And everybody in the movie's also like, yeah, she put some weight on.
She's chunky. Like, it's like she's just like this fat pig that just like works in the prime minister's house, and he just creeps on her. He's just like,
he's like, I want to get to know.
For her.
I just want to get to know where you're from. And then he fires her.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like she gets sexually harassed. Like, we don't know what happens. Like, the American president's
like necking with her when he's trying to eat some tea and crumpets.
Oh, I don't think he did that. I think he just like whispered like really like vulgar things in her ear.
Potentially.
I think that's what happened because she looked really upset.
She looked mortified.
She looked pretty sad.
And he doesn't even talk to her about it. He just all of a sudden is like
demotes her.
Right.
He's like, oh no, that was bad. Here, let me punish you for being sexually harassed.
Right. But also, I hope that you recognize that I'm going to put our relationship with America at stake as a romantic gesture, because that's what love is.
So fucking insane. And then he goes, and then it's like and then it's Christmas, and it's like, you have a sister. We know that you have family. Why aren't you with your family?
Because he hates his family.
It's like, no, I don't believe that the prime minister is alone on Christmas Day. Like, he doesn't have to make some appearance at some, orphanage. I think the UK still has orphanages.
They probably have a lot of orphanages.
Or homeless shelter or something like that. Give away like a fucking, like a goose to families in need and shit. I just do not believe that on Christmas Day he's just hanging out. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm alone. Oh, shit, that girl.
Right.
Let me go find her now. And he doesn't just ask for her address.
Mm-hmm. He goes and hunts her down.
He tells his chauffeur to go to a street. He just knows the street, and he goes the dodgy part.
Mm-hmm.
What a piece of shit.
Because, I mean, that's the only way she described it before, too.
She's fat and lives in a dodgy part of London.
And then
It's the saddest motorcade. It's like, none of this is real.
No.
You can't just decide to show up without having like a fucking huge motorcade on Christmas Day.
Yeah, you got one guy.
One little sad copper with the lights going in the back.
And then all of a sudden, yeah, if you make it to...
And you're just showing up to people's houses and no sort of like, whatever the UK version of like the CIA or like Secret Service is like, fucking having to sweep down that whole fucking street.
James Bond should be in every air vent of every house that you're visiting. And definitely in this school that he goes to.
They all go to this fucking school.
Where his sister also is.
On Christmas Day. No one's going to a school function on Christmas Day.
And and they have this play that I guess it's supposed to be funny because there's creatures that are clearly not part of the nativity. So, let's have a laugh at the silly Brits who threw a lobster into the nativity and an octopus. But then you have this is why this movie is clearly made for Americans who have no concept of what Britain is like. The little American girl has the showstopper number.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone's like, yes, America, she's so great.
She's singing Mariah Carey.
Yeah, and then, because this is how time works, is literally the minute that she gets done with her song, she's ushered away by her to go to the airport.
No one's going to the airport. It's post 9/11. Those security lines on Christmas are going to be like 3-4 hours long.
Right.
Like, that's crazy.
It's totally, I don't know.
And then the little fucking boy who's in love with, quote unquote, in love with her, because I don't know, he's 7.
Right.
So he doesn't know what love is.
He's a precocious kid.
It's like, yeah, it's post 9/11. You need a ticket to get through TSA. And the dad just willfully says, I don't know, follow your heart. If you really love her, you'll make it happen. And it basically encourages his kid to like just commit like national security like threats
right, just
by
go running right through
TSA and the airport.
It's
insane.
Totally bananas. Okay. If we're ranking subplots of this movie, by the way,
Which is the worst?
somehow that is still not even close to the worst. Because we're getting there. We're getting up on what I think are the 2 worst subplots of the whole movie.
Laura Linney?
Laura Linney is fine. Because Laura Linney does everything she can to make it work. She does a great job.
No, she doesn't.
I think she's trying as hard as she can in this movie.
Laura Linney is not trying. All we know about Laura Linney is that her boss calls her into his office and says, hey, everyone knows you're in love with like Greg. I don't even know if that's his name, but whatever. His name is Greg to me because I don't know who anyone's name is because that's how boring this movie was. Hey, you're in love with Greg. We all know it. Do something about it. And she's just like really anxious and like, oh my God, does everyone know? It's like, yeah, everyone knows. It's like, who says you're in love? It's like you just like him. Just ask him out.
Right.
Everyone just uses love cavalierly and like as a replacement for just regular words like or enjoy.
Okay, Laura Linney's part in this movie is not ruined by Laura Linney, though. That's the thing. Laura Linney is like a port in a storm for all of this nonsense that goes on around her with the guy who's the villain from 300 and Alan Rickman, who's I love in other movies, but god damn Alan Rickman, what did you do in this one?
Okay, Laura Linney is just, I don't even get it. Like, her boss calls her into his office to be like, you're in love with Greg.
And it's so clear, do something about it.
Do something about it. And we're like, okay. And then we literally, all we see her do is be anxious. We don't see Greg.
Right.
I think we maybe see him and it's like, oh, he's literally wearing glasses.
Oh, yeah.
And like going to do his job. It's like
he turns a lamp on for her and says goodbye to her at the end of the night. That's that's how you know that they're really in love from afar.
It's
Star-crossed.
it's just like you're an adult woman. You have a job, Avi. Like just either ask this dude out or don't. Like there's no we don't know who this guy is. We don't
Right.
know like that he's good. And then finally at like the holiday party, they like dance or whatever. He takes her home. They're like gonna fuck. Her room seems very childlike.
She's got a teddy bear in there that she has to throw into her bed.
Yeah,
I'm surprised she didn't have princess sheets on her bed.
It was really, I was like, ooh, someone seems emotionally stunted.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like trying to fuck, and then her phone goes off, and she's like talking to someone, and it seems like there's a crisis. And it's like revealed that it's her brother who's like not well.
Yeah, he's like schizophrenic or something.
He's
He's in a mental hospital of some kind.
Some sort of just like unspecified mental health issue. He is institutionalized, and he's like very chill about it. Like, he's not a bad person.
No.
Also, he's hot. It's revealed that he is hot. He takes off those glasses, and it's like a
Right.
she's all that moment. And he has a French accent. And it's like, why didn't we know these things about Greg earlier?
Takes
then
his
we
shirt
would
off.
have been rooting for Greg instead of just being like, I guess she likes a person.
His whole body
That's
is
all we
abs.
know, that he's a person. Yeah,
Right.
his entire body is abs. And it's like, wait a minute. So you're not going to fuck him, and you're going to go visit your brother. And it's like, oh, boo-hoo, he's disabled. And it's like, you could still fuck him.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't an all or nothing situation.
Right.
He seemed very chill about it.
The part that loses me on the Laura Linney plot is when she doesn't just not answer the phone the second time.
Yeah.
That's all she had to do.
He's in a place where he's being taken care of.
Right.
Like, at a certain point, it's like, this isn't a new situation.
Mm-hmm.
You've been dealing with this for a while.
How does
You can create boundaries. Like, this idea that, like, he's disabled and she has to be at his beck and call. It's like he's in a place where they feed and house and care for him and
Right.
make sure that he will not injure himself or do harm.
But this is supposed to show, I think, familial love, which also nobody in this family knows what love is because that's not how you act.
That's not love. That's not love.
That's
Codependency.
it's very much codependency.
It's 100% codependency. It's like, you didn't have to not fuck that hot guy. Also, not have a relationship with him because you have a disabled brother.
Right.
Like, that's so insane. Like, I hate that she's supposed to be made out to be some sort of saint who made the right choice.
But she's just sacrificing
Her
own happiness.
to be in this like codependent relationship.
It's totally insane, but it's not the worst subplot of this movie. And the kid is not the worst subplot of this movie either. It's fine. It's like dumb kid love. It is what it is.
The Christy Brinkley,
With
the man's wife, just died.
yeah, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, Claudia Schiffer, I think."
Is it? I don't know. I can't tell the difference. They're all blonde.
This is
And gorgeous supermodels.
This is really close and careful for me, just because I'm gonna put one slightly ahead of the other one, just because of the acting.
Did you lose a girlfriend and then at her funeral immediately reference the supermodel that you would get into a relationship after?
Thank God I
her?
did not do that. But man, did he? Whoa, Liam Neeson should stick to saving daughters and not trying to make his stepson fall in love with people. Anyway, Alan Rickman, Emma Thompson, and the secretary. This is right below the bottom of the barrel. This is like the last layer of water before we reach the actual bottom of the barrel
Emma
of this
Thompson
movie.
is the only good person in this
I
movie.
know.
She's the only person that has a life, has like her priorities in order.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because you see her with her brother, the prime minister. You see her with her husband, the boss at Laura Linney's work.
Right.
You see her with her child, who's the lobster in the school play. So you see her in all these different. Oh, and then and she's also like friends with like Liam Neeson, whose wife just died.
Right.
So it's like you see her being empathetic and having a story and a personality. And then it's like she gets the fucking short end of the stick with this piece of shit husband.
Yeah. And he's such a thorough piece of shit on so many, because he's barely going through the motions of being a good husband. He's so clearly infatuated with this girl who's his secretary at work, and she's dropping all kinds of hints.
Oh, she's like,
She
I
just
want to
wants-
fuck you, and I want you to give me money and presents, and I don't give a fuck.
Why is she wearing devil horns at a Christmas party?
It's because the British don't know how to do fucking American
I think
holidays.
this is her Halloween costume still.
They don't know how to do Halloween, Thanksgiving, or Christmas. Because they're saying Christmas is when you tell the truth. Who made up that lie?
up that lie?
Who made up that crazy, crazy lie?
It doesn't make any sense.
They're just like inventing all of these rules around Christmas that literally no one has ever heard of before.
Right. And it's so insane to me that people think that they're going to get away with stuff in this movie that it's so obvious they're not going to get away with. Alan Rickman thinks he's going to pull one over on his wife. Can't do it.
No.
Because he can't even fucking get the gift wrapped right because he's just sitting there while Mr. Bean throws cinnamon sticks and glitter into a plastic bag.
Potpourri, rose petals, and like sprigs of herb and sage and rosemary and fucking lavender.
Yeah.
That was pretty great.
I mean, Mr. Bean is high on my list of characters in this movie who actually make this thing anywhere close to redeemable. But the fact of the matter is, the reason why this one doesn't hit the bottom for me is because Emma Thompson pulls off the fucking acting job of this whole movie. She can act.
She can listen to Joni Mitchell and emote.
Yeah. Oh, that's that. And
That was
scene,
real sad.
It is sad.
When she says, she's like, and you've made a fool of me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my God. I feel sad for her. But it's like, again, not love.
Right.
That's not love. We're not seeing love.
No.
We're seeing
betrayal.
right?
This is betrayal, actually.
Actually, I mean, everyone in this movie is pretty much betrayed and bamboozled in some degree.
Right, which is what brings me to the worst subplot of the whole movie, which is, and we're circling back around to it, is the wedding and our boy Mark, the best man with a creepy, creepy obsession with the wife, Keira Knightley.
So crazy because the groom, his best friend, is like, I know you've really like not gotten along with her and don't really like her. And that's kind of like, that's like reinforced, like, be nice, you know, when like she asks to speak to him on the phone. It's just like, wait a minute. So have you just like not had like any real interactions with this woman before?
Right.
Like that you can just be so obsessed with her and then also seem very like cold to her? It's creepy as fuck.
I'm surprised that when they walk into his apartment and she just pops over with pie, that there are not photos of her
blown up,
scattered around, that he doesn't have locks of her hair somewhere.
Because the video that he shows to her, it's not even that it's just like close-ups of her face. It's like clearly been edited to be like a very artful reveal and like... And testament to her and her beauty.
Right.
It's fucking
He just has
insane.
lying around also next to whatever his other VHS
just
tapes
ready
are
to
of.
go, right there.
Didn't even try to did not even try to hide that he had that just out in the open. And then all of us, and then it brings us to possibly the worst moment of the entire movie, which is the cue card scene.
Why?
It doesn't sound like carolers.
No, it sounds like a boombox.
It sounds like a boombox. Why are you doing this?
Like,
what do you expect to get out of this?
I mean, the thing is, it's like just all of the things that have to happen for that to go right. They both have to be home.
Mm-hmm.
She has to answer the door. He can't come to the door.
Right.
And like, she doesn't scream or call 911 while he's doing that. Because that is fucking insane.
Yeah.
That is 100% your best friend needs to be X'd out of our entire lives. Like,
we're supposed to believe, though, that she is flattered by this.
And kisses him.
Not just kisses him, runs and chases him down the street to kiss him.
Like, that's going to make the situation better. Oh, that's all he wanted, just a kiss.
And then and then we're good.
And then we're like...
It's batshit insane.
It's so insane.
Truly baffling.
how I don't even.
Is that love?
That is not.
No,
love.
it's stalking.
It's fucking psychotic.
Yeah. I don't
like this movie. There's no love in this movie. I have no love for this movie. There's no love in this movie. It's just sad people. Everyone's sad. He's sad and psychotic. Alan Rickman is sad and creepy. Emma Thompson's sad because she has a creepy husband.
Right.
The prime minister's sad because he's a weak leader.
And he clearly doesn't know how to talk to women. I mean, he so clearly does not know how to interact with people on any kind of level.
He fucking everyone hitting on their domestics and employees is just like,
right.
This is, I mean, I get it. You know, it's 2018. Me Too. It's been a year.
Colin Firth.
Can't watch this.
Colin Firth is sad and completely misguided.
The thing is, here's the thing. I think like when this movie came out, like the people that are like naked, the stand-ins, like that was supposed to be seen as like, ooh, salacious. Like, ooh, are they porn actors? And it's like, they're stand-ins. You don't have to make the motion when you're a fucking stand-in.
Right.
Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy.
You just stand there.
And also, why are they rehearsing the same scene
over and over
again for days on end?
The color, and then that's it. And then they shoot the scene. It's just not that complicated. It's so crazy.
This is, I think,
none of it makes sense.
None of it makes sense. And part of the one of the biggest problems that I'm doing just a little bit of after the market research. Richard Curtis says that he was inspired by Pulp Fiction for this movie.
What? Yeah. In what way?
Because there's different diverging vignettes. Yeah.
I don't know. Has he ever read a short story collection? What the fuck? Like,
I don't know.
He was inspired by Pulp Fiction.
Yep, Pulp Fiction and the work of Robert Altman.
Oh, God.
So it's just, we have unfortunately witnessed the birth of now an entire genre of, we're going to sort of theme a movie around a holiday. And for that, Richard Curtis deserves to be sent to film jail.
I mean, I hate it. So much. I hate all of those movies. New Year's Eve, Mother's Day, whatever, Valentine's Day.
Was Mother's Day one?
I don't know. It sounds like it probably is one. There's so many of them. They're just so bad. It's like you're all clearly represented by the same agency, and like none of you people have any business being like paired up together. It's just this idea that like all this star power equals box office sales, and like it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, Julia Roberts and Tom Hanks can't open movies right now. Like,
right.
Let it go.
Yeah.
This is over. I'm ready for it to be done.
Romantic comedies.
How about actual niche exploration of, like, just one storyline? Why don't you just develop that? Why don't you just have, like, an interesting character with an inner life?
What's your favorite actual romantic comedy?
Oh, I don't really like romantic comedies.
No,
but this isn't a romantic comedy.
Well, it's not. But I feel
like that's part of the mythology.
It is.
That's part. Like people think, like, oh, it's like a romantic comedy. It's about love, and it's like, no, just because love is in the title, it's like actually no love. Like
every review says it's all romantic comedy, love, British style. A belly flop into the sea of romantic comedy. Roger Ebert.
How about just a flop? How about is that what British comedy means? Not funny?
Owen Gleiberman, a toasty, star-packed ensemble comedy.
People just really use comedy very liberal these days, and is this why we have a comedy bubble now? Because things like this count as comedy,
right? Because people decided, well, this is comedy.
This isn't comedy. I don't love romantic comedies, but I do. The ones I do like, I like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I love Made in Manhattan, and Crazy Rich Asians is like incredible. I was like fucking bawling. I love that movie so much. It's perfect.
And you know what's good about all those movies?
What?
They're actual comedies.
There's funny jokes and funny people. Like those movies all have like 1 or 2 stars, and they do fine. Like, that's enough.
Yeah. It's just, I can't, you know what? I can't say that I can't believe that this movie was made. I understand why it got
I'm
made.
sure. Yeah. How much did it even cost? It couldn't have cost.
I mean, it cost
money.
it cost a lot just because all the famous British people. It cost between 40 and 45 million, but it made 200.
40 and 45 million dollars.
It made 246.9
in the early
million.
2000s.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, that's a lot of fucking money. That's insane.
but you know what's more insane?
What?
Is that this movie is regarded as one of the best Christmas movies of all time.
Why do people think this is a Christmas movie?
Because it happens at Christmas.
I didn't even really remember that it was a Christmas movie. I just remember it being so bad that I hated it.
It's not a Christmas movie.
It's not. It's nothing to do with Christmas. It's like they just picked Christmas. This could have happened around 4th of July or Bastille Day.
Mm-hmm.
2 holidays British people obviously celebrate.
It's not a Christmas movie. It's not a romantic comedy.
It's just
a pile of trash.
It's lies. It's just
lies.
lies. It's lies, actually. That's what this is.
Yeah, and if you like this movie, you are lying to yourself, as I once did at its age 16.
Yeah, I think if you're an adult in 2018 who actually enjoys this movie, loves this movie, maybe you should be institutionalized with Laura Linney's brother because you are not a productive member of society. I don't think you contribute. And I think that you are dangerous and will probably show up to your best friend's wedding and just shoot their partner, literally and figuratively.
Mm-hmm. You deserve to be in a padded room because you don't understand how love works.
You know nothing of love.
Get out of here. Danielle, thank you for watching this movie and hating this movie and stoking the fires within everybody.
I love to hate.
I do too. It's why I love this podcast so much. It's why I love doing it. Where can the listeners find your work?
You can find me on my website. I have a bunch of upcoming show dates at thedanielleperez.com. Also, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Diva Deluxe. No E at the end.
You can follow me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, jlightcomedy.com for show dates. I got a bunch of stuff coming up in San Diego in January after the holidays, and I'm back. So stay tuned for those. And if you like the podcast, please leave a review, leave a rating, subscribe, all that fun stuff. It helps me and it helps my guests, and everybody wins.
Yay.
This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.